Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is from the Depths campaign map. When we're in the campaign, since the last episode, I've taken a few of these squares off. This one in the centre here had a nice 597 force, and there's another 570 up in the top right, waiting to be taken out as well. Generally, our Aquanaut fleet actually ran through them quite happily. It was a bit of a boring fight as such, nothing we hadn't seen, so I didn't video it and produce a video from it. Did learn a few things. The old Inquisitor is such a pain to knock out with subs because of the delay in the missile firings, etc. So that was a little bit of a pain and took a little longer than expected, but it did it without any actual main casualties and took out a lot of enemy ships. We also took over this area, and we've done a fair bit of work with the carrier fleet and the leeches, having a bit of fun, ramming into various ships as we went round these areas. That was quite interesting. Noticed some limitations. I did also experiment with the leeches, and I have rebuilt them a little bit to do a little bit more damage. There's some rotating parts on there, which we'll see in a later episode when I bring them in, possibly maybe on one of these forces up the top here, possibly up on this 198. I might send the carrier fleet into there for a bit of a laugh. What other items I tested was I tried increasing the block count on some of these larger battles, and it was possible to do battles around 40,000 blocks instead of the 20,000 we have at the moment, but the lag was pretty bad. I have to say the lag was not good, and video wise I could do it, but I'd have to do highlights and speed up the video and do the time lapse. I think really it just slows down a little too much. 30,000 was okay, and I might look up in the standard level a little bit at a time to see how the videos go. The leeches also, I did create one big massive group of 100 of them, remains of what had been spawned in, and did try putting them against actually they knocked out a fair bit of this fleet down here. Because they self-replicated, which I've disabled now, they made the system lag really bad. At one point, I think I had over 200 leeches attacking the Lightning Guard. Their biggest problem was the Inquisitor. They could not take it down. Their missiles, even though I was trying to modify them, their missiles were just not good enough to take it down. I think they took one down by accident because it actually rammed into one of the leeches, and that slowed it up enough. But another one came in and it just was not effective. So it was great fun to watch, but extremely laggy. So fun, but again not videoed. So I'm telling you about what hasn't been videoed. So why am I here? Right, well, one we haven't looked at with the Lightning is the Atlantis. So I've brought up the Atlantis, ready to take out the Lightning Hood's main base. So this will be the destruction of their main base here, if this all goes to plan. And we're going to use the Atlantis just to have a bit of maximum Dora Daka going in at long range against this area. Unfortunately, there isn't any enemy troops, so we might take it over into one of this 190s or the 232 over here, just to give it some battle against some ships as well, just to see how it goes. Before we jump into the battle, I have made some changes to the Atlantis. Some minor, some major. Minor ones, I've put some smoke on there. It's not necessarily pretty. You know, I don't necessarily do pretty, but, you know, it does lay smoke now, which is useful. The other bigger change is I have changed the way that the sub-spawned vehicles work. Now, previously, all of the vehicles were docked all of the time, and I had this problem. As they are now, they are pointing up, and I wasn't happy with it. What I have now made them is each of them are a semi-independent platform which floats on their own, and we are missing one actually, which I'll just bring in before we go. We're missing one gun pod. When the enemy's in range, they're actually released from the Atlantis, and they just float nearby and then start attacking the enemy. All of their power is still supplied via the batteries and generators from the central Atlantis ship. So their shields, all the shield power here is all provided by the power from the Atlantis. It doesn't have any, these don't have any engines of their own, except for one, which is the Dora gun. They also don't have any propulsion. They don't have any rudder, propellers, or any other navigation. They totally rely on the Atlantis to move them around. So when the enemy is not in range, like they are now, they will dock with the Atlantis. So the Atlantis tows them around effectively, and once they're in battle, it releases them. The Dora is the exception. It does have some mobility, mainly because it has to be able to point in the direction. And why is that doing that just there? That doesn't annoy me. It's trying to build something, a second Dora, I think, or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, the Dora, because it's not a turret, it has to point its gun at the target. So I've given it a rudder and a few other bits so that it is able to point itself in the right direction. And basically, it's got a rudder, a few engine, and a small little engine in the back. So it's the only exception to that particular rule. So we're going to see how this all performs. I have no idea what it is. It seems to be building a second SAM pod for some reason. Right in the middle of the Dora. Well, that's going to be interesting. We'll have to see what happens with that, because you can't have two things just there. That's not going to work, matey. Talking about upgrading this, one little thing to be aware of if you use this sub-spawned vehicle with large items like we have here. If you just go into the main ship and retrofit, and there's been big changes to any of these ships, what I've found is the resources get lost from all of these vehicles and it rebuilds them from scratch, which is not good. In this case, that's a lot of metal in these would get lost. So what you have to do is go into each of the sub-spawn vehicles and press the remove button, and then that separates it so you can see it in the forces map here, and then you can scrap it. So you do that with each of the sub-spawn vehicles, scrap them, upgrade your craft, and then you can pull them, build them in again, and associate them with the relevant areas. So if I just pull in the missing item here, which is one of the gun pods, I think it's that one there. So we bring it in, let it get built by the Atlantis. There we go. And then you have to go into your spawner vehicle, which obviously I'm using the one I have here. Yours might be slightly different, and you select that vehicle at 2%, and then you go down to your sub-spawner here, select him and associate him. It's now part of the vehicle, and you will find if we just come off of there and go back into here, you can see it's not in the forces list, because it is actually effectively part of the vehicle itself. So that's just a word for those that might be doing a similar system, in that if you get large like I have here, well, I've got quite a few pods. This is not a small little ship anymore. It's quite a large ship. So do be aware that you could lose resources if you're not careful. So, as I say, just a little word about that. Okay, so what we'll do now, once this is finished building, I will move the Atlantis group into range of the enemy forces. We'll get nice and close. No point in being too far away. I think there looks like a good place to be. So I will speed up and just cut it until we are there, and then we're ready for the battle. So see you shortly. And welcome back to the map, and things are never quite as easy as I would like in this game, as always. So whilst the Atlantis was making its slow arse way to this particular section, there was 3 attempts at trying to go against the Turtle Fleet and the Aquanautic Fleet, and I had to just fight those. It was small fleet, so it was fairly quick, but it did slow it up a little bit. So I will have to take out those sections next, otherwise it's just getting annoying. So now we're ready for the Atlantis to have a go. We're close enough, I think, here to have a go at this particular area. So we're going to go into the battle mode. Certainly close enough for Dora to have a big ass battle. Now, it's pretty simple, this particular battle. Yes, no other choices really. Let's just make sure I'm on the Atlantis ready. There we go. So one big ship versus what hopefully will be one big ship as well. So they've definitely got the points advantage here in theory, except I automatically, let's just get this spawned in. That took a little while to spawn in because there's a lot of blocks here basically. So here we've got our ship coming in, and this is going to be the base. So it only counts the Atlantis as a 4K vehicle. It doesn't count all of the sub vehicles. So what should be happening now is, let me just make sure I'm not on any guns, good, is all the vessels have been undocked and they will make their own little way into whatever position they want to. So they'll float, basically, is the word I'm looking for. Now I'm going to drop this down. You can see Dora is lined himself up and is giving this a good bit of damage. So what we'll do is we'll get over this way. So it is a bit laggy. There is a lot of blocks here. The enemy has got some ships, so there is some aircraft here. So it's not simply just the main base. I think it is mainly. These must be just some spawnable ancillary ships that are, looks like a beluga and something else. But we've got some very large shots coming into this base. I haven't actually had a look at this. It looks interesting. You can see there's like a building area there. That's very very nice. Interesting. There's sort of some launch pads, some helicopter pads, and what looks like a partially built ship here of some description, I guess. Not sure what it's supposed to be. Very intriguing. Very intriguing design. Someone took a long time to build this and make it look nice, and it's a lot of blocks, a lot of shielding. I don't know what actual defences it's got in itself. It seems to have some missiles. There's some missile type pods here. Some constant wave lasers out the top, but we have the big cannon shells are coming in, as you can see here from the various guns, doing a fair bit of damage as they're hitting the various items and the superstructure. This ship's actually got quite a spaced out superstructure. Oh, he's healing himself. That's gonna make it awkward. So we've got to do more damage than he can heal. Right, well luckily the missiles first of all are taking out these ships, hopefully. That's an ampere there basically. Yeah, it's gone very laggy. And I think this beluga is just about to get a taste of missile fire. We can see this the smoke from the Atlantis, and the ships are separating themselves off quite nicely. Oh, it looks like that beluga's being taken out. He's got some. He's taken the wings. He's losing direction. Let's see how we got here. We've got some large missiles coming in on this as well. No, his missiles are going out, not coming in. So let's just go back to our ship, the Atlantis. Let's see if our anti-missile system is working. So we've got plenty of smoke going out, and as you can see, plenty of our own missiles are firing. Now we have got an anti-missile system on the Atlantis, which is just on top of the superstructure there, and you can see it just firing out the little missiles. And are they targeting? Trying to spot the enemy missiles coming in. There's some of them are down here. You can see them, just see them in the water. And because they're floating near the top, our anti-missile systems will actually track these down if they are close to the surface, like bobbing like these are here. Our interceptors do try to take them out. We haven't seen any missile fire, hasn't got in close enough yet. So obviously we're either out of range, possibly for his missiles, or they're going into the water because the point they're aiming at is below the water. I'm putting the Atlantis into the water, so that's on purpose. Every little bit of water, etc., is good. Now, what's happening with Dora? Now, Dora, for some reason, is not aligning with the target properly. What are you doing, boy? What are you doing? Let's have a quick check of Dora, because he's obviously having second thoughts, maybe, or something. I don't know. It's a bit annoying. Let's see if I can get in here and see what's happening. Back in a minute. And most annoyingly, Dora has decided that she wants to turn the opposite way round. So that's a little annoying, to say the least. I might have to have a little redesign of Dora, I think, and make it a turret, because it's just not quite wanting to turn in the correct direction, which is face the enemy. Stupid thing. Stupid boy. Other little problems. Let me just see, that one there just needs doing. But otherwise, we're taking that out. Let's see how we're doing on the enemy post. So I'll just get over to the other, the enemy area, and we'll look at its block count. And whilst on the way over, we are actually getting a 2 damaged note from this. So I just want to see if I can actually get close enough to get a sign of how big this was. So even without Dora. Let's see. No, a little closer, a little closer, a little closer, come on. So the Quartz force was 22,000 and we'd got it down to 50%. So, okay, we'd done the damage. So, sorry you didn't see a lot of that. I was more time spent trying to sort out Ruddy Dora. But the rest of the guns all worked pretty well. Just got to sort out a couple of those missile pods, which for some reason didn't want to disengage. That's the only bad point. So, but otherwise, this is gonna be disintegrating anytime soon. Now we've got the 2 damaged. It will take a little while to go through. Has that given us some resources? 2.8 million. We don't get much. I did turn down the amount of resources we get from destruction, but now I don't know if it's saying 2 damaged actually up the top there, so that maybe that's just there, but although actually I think it's saying it down the bottom here. Obviously the AI must be down somewhere in there, or it's decided that's the center part of it, but we're still, fire is still coming in, so it's decided it's not totally dead yet. Is it disintegrating? Yes, it is disintegrating. Excellent. That's just in time for Dora to sort itself out. So that's the lightning hood. So you can see there's a couple of bits I need to sort out. With a couple of ships which didn't disengage, but generally that worked quite nicely. That worked quite well. No problems with that particular build. Using these spawner ships to drag them along using the docking. Obviously it's slow, only 3 meters a second. I'll have to sort out Dora. I think it's time for a rebuild. I might redo this as similar sort of gun, but on a turret. That's going to make it significantly bigger. Obviously, to be able to have this on a turreted platform is going to make it quite large. But that could be interesting. Maybe see if I can. It's a pity because I quite like this one. I'll make a new one. I'm going to make a slightly different one. I think we'll leave Dora as it is, as she is, and I'll try and fix her so she does actually face the right direction. It would be handy, or have it so she is actually part of Atlantis. That's my other option. Is actually make Dora on Atlantis rather than being a sub vehicle. Potentially. That's also got some nice items on it. It'll give a nice big gun for Dora to use. Let me just sort out these missile pods because they are annoying me. Back in a second. So all our ships are now trying to dock back in their relative positions. They have a bit of a bounce around whilst getting into those positions, but they do eventually get there. And that is now destroyed. So we have now destroyed the lightning hoods. They are no more, which is good. It means we can now worry about the next enemy. So what I'm going to do, offline now, is we will clean up, or I will clean up the remaining squares on this map. I may do some look at some of the craft I've created for the ship, but if they're not interesting, I may just clean up all of these squares. So what we're left with is who's next? Who is the next target for us? So if we go back to here and we go into faction info, so let's see, we've done the White Flares, the Onyx Watch, Deepwater Guard, and we've done the Lightning Hoods. Now we can either go back to the Twin Guard, Steel Striders, or Grey Talons. The Scarlet Dawn will be the last one. Possibly we'll take out. So we've taken out Lightning Hoods. They've still got plenty of territory. Although we've taken out their base, we still have some area to go. So let's just make sure we're not actually at war with anybody that we shouldn't be. No, that all looks okay. No one's disliking it. So we can now, let's go and have a look at it on the map, so we can see where the maps are. So we've got the Grey Talons just here, right next to us at the moment. Can't remember what type of fleets the Grey Talons have, but that's one element that's interesting. Now, the Steel Striders have an interesting system in that a lot of their ships are very similar to historical ships. They use a lot of metal type of ship systems, so that's their... Yeah, they have like battleship style vessels, etc. So that's quite interesting. The Twin Guard, from memory, have a mixture of missiles. They have lots of little ships from memory, unless they've changed, of course. I also think of them as the robot ones. They remind me of Mech Warrior. The Grey Talons, from memory, they've got a ship similar to one of the other forces that we'd already taken out, and my brain has now left me. Not Deepwater Guard, Onyx Watch. It's the the Flayers. I think the Grey Talons are similar to the Flayers. Again, it's been a while since they have had updates. All of these particular teams. Yeah, which one's next? So we got the Grey Talons, which are just next door. Or I could move everything up to the Steel Striders and the Twin Guard, leaving the Scarlet Dawn, who seem to have quite a large area, as our last team to go for. And that will be with the Epic ship, which I'm intending to build, or start building soon. So just as a quick bit on the Epic build, whilst we're just waiting for all of these to go through, and while we're talking on this, so the Epic ship, a few people have come up with some suggestions, all really good. What I am thinking of at the moment is having a big ship that we will take into the Scarlet Dawn, our Epic ship, which will just basically hopefully tank everything that is going against it. And I may do a sub, because I haven't seen many subs, but I've got a hankering to make not a standard sub. Let's put it that way, at least, anyway. So a sub which maybe also flies. We'll have to see. It won't be a spaceship, but it might be a flying sub. So it will go... I might have it as a dual mode craft. So when there's water, it will quite happily go into sea mode and go under the water. If the water isn't very deep, it goes into air mode. I don't know yet, and we'll have a think about that. That's a potential idea at this moment. Then it spawns in aircraft like the Sea Carrier. It will spawn in small subs and or small aircraft depending on what it's going against. So we'll have a think about that one. I think maybe it sounds like something that's unusual, and we're going to use all the tricks I have learnt so far in building that. So shortish, seeing that destruction. Sorry, there wasn't more destruction seen of that. I just wanted to see and make sure that the Atlantis would work, because we hadn't seen it. And I think I will put the Atlantis against one of the other groups here. Possibly there's 232 here in another video, just so we can see it. Oops, so we can see it going against some... sorry about that. I keep on pressing the wrong button. Just so we can see it against some vessels as well. So I might bring it up against this 232 in this corner here, or the 193. We'll see which one's interesting. I might video both of them and see which one is more interesting for you. I'll also quickly do, I won't say quickly, I may well redo Dora. Similar size gun, just a very big turret. Maybe a twin turret. I'll have a think about that. Dora may get a rework. It's obviously not turning properly, which is annoying. So the easiest way is put it on a turret, so I haven't got to worry about it turning the whole ship. We can just have it turn itself in the right direction and fire at will. Yeah, I think that might work. We'll have to. I might do a build on that and see how big a turret. Just how big a turret. The only problem with that particular design, the reason I dislike it, is with turrets, one bullet at the wrong place and the whole thing just blows up, which is the reason I don't like doing that. So let me have a check of if I can fix Dora so it points the right way. Excellent. If not, it will be rebuild time. So until next time, leave any comments below. Please click that like button, and so I know people are watching this videos and wants to see more. But until next time, let me know which enemy to go against next. Let me know if you've got any other good ideas for the epic ship, whether you like the idea of an epic sub, stroke carrier. But most of all, as you all know, have fun.